is ready and prepared for program.
Our power will be demonstrated now.
We'll send them all against Earth to destroy it. We shall conquer the entire universe.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome to another wonderful night of Overwatch here at the Watchers. Tonight we are going to be having RNG face off against Perfection. I am Shadow24 doing the play-by-play for you tonight, and joining me is Man of Class over there at the analysis desk. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great here. I mean, it's a wonderful night. Good night for Overwatch, and we got some great teams here lining up. So I'm happy. I'm interested in seeing what happens.
So I kind of step inside and out of the Watchers realm. Haven't been here in a while. Is there anything to point out about either of these teams that you're looking forward to in this matchup?
Well, I mean, the Romans Next Gods are just in the same boat as you, because they have played their last match on the 3rd of June, so it's been a while for them as well. And that was a particularly interesting experience for them, because essentially what happened to them, they won the first 2 maps against the New England Whalers, and then just got reverse swept. I mean, I say just, it was still pretty close, but that was a very interesting experience for them. And then Perfection, I mean, they actually got through their first match. They beat Mean Green in that one, who's just been eliminated by the New England Whalers last night. But then went down 3-0 to Metamorphic. So they're both now in the lower bracket. That's the match we're looking at. So the loser of this match will be eliminated. But power level-wise, these teams could be very close.
All right. Seems like this match is going by the motto of my favorite apron. Gonna be raising the stakes here. We are starting on Lijiang Tower, and my favorite hero in the game, my favorite duo in the game is Pharmacy. Do you think we're going to see a lot of Pharmacy on Lijiang Tower, or are we still going to be in the traditional goats?
It is often what we see, but it's also often what we don't see. It's really a 50-50 at this point. Obviously, it will also a little bit depend on which points we go to. If we start on Control Center, or if it's one of the 2 stages, that's not where I'm expecting it to really see. Because the skybox and the enclosed area of the point itself just don't really lend itself to far mobility really well. But when we go to Gardens, especially, that's where you usually will see a Pharmacy come out, or where you can usually see it come out. On Night Market, it's a little bit debated. A lot of teams will still not go for it, because you can't really work with their team as well most of the time there. But we'll see. I mean, it's everything is open here, and we have a new patch, so that could also impact things.
Oh man, new patches are always exciting. New metas, new strategies. There's rumor about the 31st hero on the horizon.
Well, I mean, one thing that we actually know, because you started about Pharmacy, the big deal about it now is that Divas Matrix has been significantly nerfed.
Yeah,
it's been downsized by a third, because it's not just the length that's gone down, it's also the UI has been a little bit updated, the way it looks, and also the cone has just been cut off at the end, so it's also less wide at its end now. So it's a lot. It's going to be a lot harder to block projectiles from something like a pharmacy, and that could be really impactful. Also, McCree, that huge buff. We might be seeing some American Cowboys tonight. It's very possible.
See what we've got coming out of the gates. The initial showing, which is, a lot of teams like to troll us casters in the first couple of seconds here.
Yeah.
But I would be surprised not to see really mobile comps here. I want to see the Pharahs, the Winstons, the Hammonds, if you will. But Kala looking to be on the Widowmaker right now. And
the Roman's next gods are going to roll out with this. Lom is going to switch over to the Widowmaker, just speed boosting them out of point. On the other side, we will see the McCree. Yeah, the McCree actually leaves spawn here. So the high fire rate, you're going to see it in action now, guys. It's not quite the 0.4 that it was, but the 0.42. Still pretty quickly, but it gets taken out by Kala.
Yeah, that's a real quick opener there. So now it's a 6v5, and you also have Agodago here over on the edge a little bit alone, and a big boop goes off on the Magic Mate Ball. Red Sledge is going to open things up with a double kill, and that's pretty much all she wrote for first point. That's going to go to RNG.
Yeah, I mean, very good to see that Red Sledge is on point with that Wrecking Ball, and not so much ready for that boop on the other side. The Roman's next gods, it's actually, Perfection has to go in again with something else here. Oh, the McCree fire is going off, man. I can already hear it. It's just boom, 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 boom.
Big Brain trying to hit those big shots. So we're going to go ahead and see what we've got here. Perfection now pushing off onto the left side of the point into that small room, which might be an issue. They are going to be able to be protected away from that Pharah, but they're not going to be protected from Class Nation. He's going to take the Winston out of the equation. Agodago back to spawn as Big Brain finally puts himself into the kill feed in two different ways. Headshot and shot head. That way, they're still not going to be able to initiate onto the point very well here.
And they're going to try initiate here, but everyone's just running away from them.
Yep, off of the back of that Coalescence. They don't really want to meal with that because they're waiting for that EMP coming in from Class Nation. He does get caught, but it's okay. His Mad Shoe's going to go ahead and grab himself a quick triple or double with that barrage.
I mean, nicely done from them. Obviously, they were being pushed back a little bit, but they still had plenty of ultimates to work with. So they're going to have to try again here with Side of Perfection, but looks like they're going to be ready for it. I mean, they do finally start having the support ultimate of Magic Mate Ball soon. Agodago is almost there with the Primal Rage, so that will open up a lot more possibilities. The Area of Sustain, but Magic Mate Ball, Kala's been on point with that Widowmaker today.
He has, Widowmaker can be such a crucial addition.
Yeah, I was just going to say they trade out for the Sombra, but then Kala gets another two, so it's really not a trade at all. And they're just stuck in that room. They can't really get out here. It's just Matthew just shooting in those rockets. It's so much splash damage. It is really beaming towards the next barrage. And they really needed some window to work with before those things are up again.
Yeah, between Matshu on those rockets and then Sneaky coming in on the Tracer, just getting that little bit of trash damage after the splash damage. Looking for a good Pulse Bomb, finds the Winston, is able to land that Pulse Bomb, but Agodago is going to pop the Primal Rage in order to deter all of that damage. Going to keep himself alive. Red Sledge getting pretty low. As the rally comes out from Nick on the point, Agodago is going to go ahead and take that threat out of the equation. Kala going back to spawn. Red Sledge getting shield bashed there as the EMP does come in from Class Nation a little bit late, as most of his team was dead on the point when he decided to use that ultimate.
And they don't even get one kill out of that. I mean, even if you get that EMP out, you might want to get one kill, but there's not something like a Zenyatta on the point that's just dead in the water and a very low health as soon as you pop that. So the EMP, yeah, you might have wanted to save that, but it looks like we're going to switch off anyways, so they're not going to run the Sombra. They could have run it with the competition they're doing right now, because they're going to go over to this Reinhardt Ghost. But yeah, I mean, it's a tactic you sometimes see happen. You just throw out everything they have, and then they switch off. So they only need to win one fight after all. So it's not a bad choice.
Yeah, 99% is exactly where you want to be, and Red Sledge is going to say, let's get on the point. But he goes a little bit too far. It leaves no shield for his team for that Diva Bomb, but they're all able to find a corner or a pole to hide around. So that's going to fall on deaf ears as the sound barrier from Magic Maple tries to get the sustain in for RNG. Or sorry, for Perfection. They're waiting for Big Brain to be able to pull off a big Deadeye here. He's had that ultimate for just a little bit now. The shatter, early shatter from Red Sledge, but it's not going to find more than one person, but that's going to be enough to get Agodago out of the fight with the help of Sneaky now, off of the Tracer and onto the Zenyatta. And that's going to be a pretty fun little fight there. Transcendence just going to keep the team alive as Sneaky goes ahead and gets the kill on the Big Brain, and that's going to be all she wrote right now. Perfection going to have to be struggling to get respawns back onto the point as RNG looks to grab the first point here at Lijiang Tower.
PG1 is going to go in for the stall. The Doomfist comes in as well. I don't think they're going to get much with that, but who knows?
Oh, sound barrier and a Diva Bomb. It's real difficult to stay on point when you're facing that, but the rest of the team is going to be coming back in for a little bit more of a stall.
They make it. It's the Lucio and the Wrecking Ball back in the field, and those can stall out for long, but it's overtime just takes down a bit too fast. It just down in a jiffy, and then that will definitely put that point in the Romans Next God's first control. They just get the first stage. Not over just yet. No, Perfection did show a little bit of promise there. They were just down and out after that first fight. They had to really come back into things against the DPS. But we saw some promising things coming out. Magic 8-Ball really doing very well, separating Red Sledge in that last fight. Because you said like he went a bit too far forward, but it was mostly that his team got booped back by Magic 8-Ball. So there's a very nice boop coming out from him. Did more of those as well. Almost got another kill at the Cell Destruct that followed. But yeah, it was just very nice to see that they were able to build up the Transcendence so quickly on the Romans Next Gods in that first fight that they had on that composition. That was actually insane.
That came out way quicker. Shatter as well. Red Sledge walked in and had that shatter.
I'm not that surprised by shatters because Reinhardt just had so much cleave into compositions. They just get a shatter within like 10 seconds. So that doesn't really surprise me. The Transcendence was a little more impressive in my opinion. Shield already down from Agodogo though, so they really need to run for the hills a little bit. They run for the point instead.
Agodago and the team of Perfection going up against Lum as a solo healer on the RNG side, but that's not too much of an issue because Kala can just sit off on the edges here and pick off and just get these little pot shots in at the rest of the team. Mind you, like we said at the beginning, the Diva's defense matrix has been nerfed, but what hasn't been nerfed is the power of Roman's Next Gods as they come in and just sweep the floor of this point.
Yeah, and it was a shame because you saw them almost capping that point. They stepped off a little bit too early on the side of Perfection, and I think they were a bit confused by that. Oh, we need to get back and still cap it, and then they didn't cap it, and then they were in a bit of off position. It's got picked off there. You kind of wanted a little bit of percentage counting, so you could maybe stall it out until maybe like 30%. Now they don't even have one, so a little bit of a shame there, but nicely done once again for Roman's Next Gods. They're doing a lot of work with these DPS, and once again, Kala is such a big threat. They might even ban the Widowmaker out in the next maps, who knows?
Looks like we're going to have Perfection just hiding away up in this high ground. They know that they have the sights out, so they're going to wait until those are done, but oh, there goes the Sonic Arrow, so a little bit more vision for them. You do have Machu looking for a mad barrage here. He's going to go ahead and grab two. He does get taken out by PG1, but that's really just a consolation prize at the end of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really need that. I mean, it's not really going to do much for them, to be honest, but the barrage is really nice. I've seen the location done a few times. It seems like no one's ever really ready for it. It's one of those things like a flank shatter. Sometimes a flank shatter would just catch you out. It was a very nice one. Now they're going to go with their ultimates. You get EMP though.
Yeah, that Brigette tried to get that rally out, but it did not work so well. The Dragons don't find any kills, but the EMP does kind of corner Perfection over here onto the edge where it can be quite dangerous. Machu's looking for a boop and not able to find the boop onto me Big Brain. But we will have the Mines taking over the field, denying a lot of areas. The Sound Barrier comes out from Magic 8-Ball. Alpha's going to use that Coalescence, and Big Brain's now looking for that big Deadeye. PG1's going to get hacked out of that mech, so no Diva Bombs just yet, as Kala's sights allow for RNG to know exactly where everybody is, and Machu's gonna use that to his advantage, taking Magic 8-Ball out of the fight, but Big Brain is making the big play. He took out Sneaky, taking out Red Sledge as well, and now we're finally gonna see some dominant control coming out from Perfection.
Yeah, they kind of stole that point away for free, which is exactly what they wanted to do in the first fight, and now they finally got it, but the ultimates are gonna come out. Now Machu has another barrage. Can he get more, if he has much value? Gets one. But Diva was there.
Ball, but that's pretty much it. The Coalescence coming out from Alpha, going to look to pin down and control this point. But ooh, Red Sledge almost getting a double boop there on the Diva and the Moira. Not able to follow through with it though. And the kills still seem to be trickling in for Perfection, and it seems like they've kind of figured out what RNG's bringing to the table.
I mean, they like I said, they sort of stole away that control in the fight before that, which they really, I would say they shouldn't have been able to do, but they did it anyways. But yeah, and then Machu's barrage just didn't get what they needed. They just didn't get it because PG1 was on point with it. They tried to get something out of the self-destruct there, don't really get it. Agodogo is going in deep with a primal though.
Yeah, Agodogo was trying to get the Reinhardt out of the way so the Diva Bomb could get some kills, but good positioning from Red Sledge denied that possibility. So now all we've got is we got that EMP coming in from Class Nation on the next engage. There it is, taking out 4 with that EMP, including Nick on the rallying Brig. So I'm just going to completely shut out that fight as a couple of members get pushed off of the fight or off of the point and almost completely out of the way. Deadeye's going to catch 1 onto Class Nation, so it's now going to be a 5v5 onto the point. Winston versus Reinhardt. See who's going to come out on top of me. Big Brain's going to be bringing the damage from behind. Shatter comes in from Red Sledge, and he's able to knock off Magic Mateball there as PG1 gets desuited and punched in the face by Lum. We'll see RNG take the point.
Yeah, the big deal now is, are they going to switch off themselves on the side of Perfection? Because there's the full Sombra Goats composition on the other side, and oftentimes that will mean that they're going to be behind an ult charge on this Goats composition if they're switching over. They will use the Ana, which is very popular because there's obviously no Div on the other hand that can eat any of your abilities. Not that that's going to be that big of a deal with the defense matrix nerf, but, you know, still, no defense matrix better than some.
Starting up the fight with the Graviton coming out from Big Brain, but it's not, or sorry, from Kala, but it's not going to do too much. Perfection was just able to kind of back up. They didn't get engaged. They didn't get drawn up into that Graviton, but they got caught up in that hammer down right there as Sneaky begins to make a tear on this Zenyatta once again. No wonder he gets these transcendences so quickly.
Yeah, you think they might be using a lot of ultimates there, but they couldn't. It doesn't really matter because if they win this fight, the game is over. And they just keep getting the kills. They don't really need anything else. Self-Destruct won't get anything here. BG1 will get the remax, so they could go in for another contest there. But yeah, look, it's looking all Roman's next new gods here.
Yeah, Magic Maple tried to do a little bit of dance through the window there, but the entire team of Roman's new gods went ahead and just popped into that window, completely denying that Lucio access to the point. And now we're going to see overtime tick over. So the first map in quite a fashionable way is going to be going to RNG.
Yeah, and that really goes over to that one thing that I always keep complaining about with Control, is there's such a short amount of time to work with on the Control map. So what you see happening there is because the Roman's next god switched over to the 3-3 composition before one fight earlier, that means that they'll have all the ultimate advantage, and there's no way to grab that back because you only have one fight to win. And that's just how easy it is. It sounds a bit like that shouldn't be happening in a game, but that's just how it is, guys. That's how the balance works right now. So very nicely done from Roman's Next Gods to acknowledge that. And they already showed that they could do that on the first point of Lijiang, but they once again showed that it still worked on the second one. They switch over to the 3-3 in time. This time they still had the EMP to work with, so they kept on to the Sombra. And yeah, they just executed it nicely.
I was quite enamored initially with their composition coming out of the gate, because they did come out with a single healer in the pharmacy, putting Sneaky onto the Hanzo instead of having him on the Zenyatta. But yeah, 40 DPS is a lot, and when you are committing so much to that pharmacy, it can really make the job of that Mercy on one side of the coin kind of difficult, because you got to, you know, fly around 5 people and keep everybody up. But on the same time, you do have that escape. The rest of the team, however, if that was me in my solo queues, I would have definitely been like, hey, man, please, Hanzo, come on.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you know, we keep getting all these speculations that a 2-2-2 lock is eventually coming to the game. You know, when that happens, you can't really be mad at the Hanzo, because he won't be like the 4th DPS. He'll just be the 2nd.
This is a good point.
But, yeah, I mean, there's the map that's coming is going to be Junker Town, as far as I can see.
I'm okay with that.
And I think they're going to go to Hollywood, but I'm not entirely sure. Because yeah, or they're saying something about Holy. That's the other option. But yeah, getting back to that whole thing about the quad DPS, it's a comp that's hard to pull off if the other team knows what to do against it. And it seems like Perfection was a little bit phased about what to exactly do against it in a few moments. Eventually, they figured it out though, so they actually managed to get to the point quickly and not lose anyone on the way. But it just didn't pay off in the end for them. It's a little bit of a shame, obviously, but who knows? Maybe they have some tricks on their sleeves on other maps. Because Control is always a hard one to gauge it on. You can never really tell after Control map who's going to win the series, and I'm curious to see if Perfection as what it takes to bring it back. I mean, they've done pretty well in this tournament so far, so.
I will say that both Kala and Machu have made a couple of arguments already for MVP of the match.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're gonna go for just like, oh, they made a big play because they did a good ultimate, that's one thing. Kala's just been very much on point with those Widowmaker shots. I mean, they've just been very nice shots.
Yeah, Matthew's had some crazy good positioning throughout these matches.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you can always so with positioning, it's the same thing as with some other heroes, right? Where you can sometimes question whether it was either you're in a good position or the enemy just didn't check their corners properly. And it's a little bit of both in this case. But yeah, Matthew definitely knows how to work around it. Although me, Big Brain, only as a McCree, even with an increased fire rate, not that big of a threat. Because most of the time, the range of the map is far enough that McCree cannot do the max damage he wants to. So the only thing you have to do is just stay a little bit further away from him, and your Mercy will be able to heal you up pretty fine.
Speaking of Mercy,
yeah,
looks like Agodago is going to go ahead and ban Mercy, while Lum and RNG are going to be saving Lucio and putting themselves on the attack. They want to set the pace.
Yeah, banning Mercy is always fine. If you don't want to have them to use those 3 or 4 DPS compositions anymore, then Mercy is the one you want to ban. Mobile hero, mobile healer, very good at pocketing single DPS or tank targets. Most DPS though, because high health targets lose too much for it to really keep up with in healing. But those damage boosts can be detrimental.
Yeah, especially when you put it on a Widowmaker.
Yeah, on a Widowmaker. Oh, even on a Pharah, to be honest, because if she does, what is it? I think it's like 30% extra damage on a splash, and she hits 4 targets. That's so much extra damage that you get towards your ult, and that you just do on the heroes themselves as well. So it's a very big deal to ban the Mercy here. What we could be seeing is some sort of bunker composition now, because like we know, Baptista's gotten a little bit of a buff. Orisa can now put down shields while she's reloading. So those are 2 things that are very much helping out bunker composition on Hollywood defense that have already been relatively popular.
Yeah, I was going to say with the Orisa, expect a lot more shield dancing in the upcoming matches. Being able to just unload and then while you're reloading, use that animation time to put down your shield is crucial.
Yeah, and I mean, usually you use about a half a clip for shield that you put down, if you're relatively conservative with ammo. Because she has 150 bullets, so you don't really have to put an entire clip down before you put down a new shield. Usually your shield will be gone after half a clip, if it's not just timed out. But yeah, that 3rd shield will then go down to your reload. So it's definitely something that's going to make a big difference, because you won't have to be as accurate in your resource management as you previously used to be. That is also criticism you could say. It's like, yeah, it was like a very big skill thing about Orisa. Like, when do you reload, when do you put shields down? But I guess when you're in lower skill tiers, it really helps you out. And it feels to a large degree a lot of these patch changes had been more aimed at the lower tiers.
So it looks like our preliminary looks, we do know what the defense is going to be holding out. We're just going to have a traditional 3-3 composition with the Zenyatta.
Yep.
And then on the other side, I'm not going to be surprised if we see Kala come out on that Sombra. Widowmaker on this point can be difficult to pull off, especially against a shield and a defense matrix, even in the nerf state.
It's still pretty good. Well, I mean, viewers and counters beware. The teams have swapped sides, so we're gonna have Perfection doing the defense first. RNG going on the attack here, and the Romans next. Gods are choosing to go a little bit wide. Have Kali just scout out what they have. They've seen it, so they're just gonna go in with the same 3-3. Gonna be matching it. Just a mirror, just the exact same thing. But we've seen a lot of strongholds from this high ground here, so curious to see how they're gonna pull this one off.
All right, pushing down through the window. They're looking to push Perfection off of the high ground as soon as possible with so much burst damage just popped through that doorway. They had to back out a little bit, let everybody get healed back up before they re-engage. They're getting ready, waiting for that speed boost to come in from Lum. Get themselves behind onto the opposing high ground, and as they go into the back door, Perfection's gonna go ahead and just take the bait and go for it. Close quarters fight ensues, and Agodago takes Lum out of the fight very early on. So now the attacking team, only 5 members, stuck in a close quarters combat with a Reinhardt is never a fun party. Lum and Matsu are able to keep the team alive quite significantly here as they rotate onto the patio of the cafe. You got their Lucio back right now, and now the real fight ensues. Alpha has the Transcendence, so they will be able to save. And as Air Shatter comes out, it does get 2, but it's not going to grab enough as the Transcendence comes in to deny all damage that comes past. Sneaking on to do the exact same, pop his Transcendence while Matsu layers on that rally into the fight. Graviton going to grab the entire team up. Perfection as the hammer swings through, looking to grid another Shatter. Red Sledge does build up another Shatter. He's going to let it loose, and now the kills are coming through. Perfection having a difficult time keeping members alive as Zenyatta gets out-positioned here. And Magic Mateball, just the lone Lucio, maybe going to try and get a little bit of a stall, but not really much that Perfection can do here for point A.
I mean, they got 2 kills with that self-destruct late, so they have maybe a little bit of an opportunity to come back, but yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to make it in time. Although, being said that Agodago is actually on the point here, it will take
he's
out.
Gonna get taken out.
So the interaction that was happening there at the very far beginning of that first fight, which took a long time, is you see the Roman's Next Gods pushing through the security room into the backside. What you'll see the defense that generally do is try to boop them away with a diva or something else to split the team apart a little bit and then pounce on that one player or 1 to 2 players that are separated. But they were a little bit late on that engage, so they couldn't really get that out. And that meant that, yes, Lum went down in the end, but they didn't really do anything to cut off Lum's spawn. And they need a little bit more practice on that maneuver. But Roman's Next God's really doing well and just getting through that. And now they're going to push even harder.
Ooh, big shatter coming in from Agodago. He grabs the majority of RNG as PG1 sweeps through with those missiles to go ahead and grab 2 kills. That was a dominant fight win, but they had to use a lot to get it.
I mean, yeah, I don't think they really had that much left. I mean, Alpha didn't have the Transcendence. and what did they use? The Rally and the Shatter? You get even a stagger here on Class Nation. And yes, it looks very much in favor of RNG here too, really, with the ultimates. They almost have everything up. But there's a few in the works for the defense, and they could tactically lose this fight, but just try to drag out as many ultimates as possible, not use any of their own. Because then they could just swing the ultimate economy back in their favor. But let's see if they can do that, because sometimes you're not aware of it, the enemy team's ultimates.
So let's see who's going to decide to throw down the gauntlet first. Red Sledge getting quite aggressive with that push, looking to get the shield down. The Graviton comes out and really only gets Agodago after the fact, so it's not going to be too big as the rally from Machu is going to keep the team alive. Counter grab comes out from Me Big Brain, and there goes the bomb, looking to get a couple of kills. It does get Agodago. Class Nation going to tip the scales in the favor of RNG throughout this team fight. Alpha with a late Transcendence there in the middle of the fight, going to keep his team alive for a little bit longer, hoping to get Agodago back from spawn and into the fight as Big Brain takes Sneaky out. Machu's going to even the scales. Kala, however, is going to tip it further in their favor. Looks like Magic Maple is trying to dance around on the point, keeping things alive. PG1 fighting a Mech Diva as a D-Mech Diva, and that's never going to end well.
I think Agodago dying to that self-destruct there was maybe a little bit unnecessary. They could have really just kept the Reinhardt alive and just won the fight by default because they had a Reinhardt. And even at the Shatter, they could just, close it out. But yeah, we'll see what happens here because the ults are still a little bit in favor of the attackers here, but they're not as impactful as they were before.
Now, here's one of my favorite moments in Overwatch, the Rhine battle. And it looks like Red Sledge is going to be losing the Rhine battle this time around, but the payload going to keep everybody alive from that Diva bomb coming out from PG1. Lum going to use the sound barrier there to make sure that everybody can stay alive throughout the rest of this fight as the Diva bomb comes in from Class Nation on top of the payload, making sure that it can't block the damage. Graviton does come out from Kala to just kind of group up the rest of Perfection so that RNG can swing through and move on to point 3.
The entire fight was about the barriers. First, there was the boop and the shatter, but the shatter was a little bit too late to really get the enemies down. The counter shatter comes in because the barrier isn't up by that time. And then after that, there was the charge from Red Sledge onto Me Big Brain, breaking his barrier so he could get killed by the self-destruct. Agodago's barrier went down because of the self-destruct, and then the Graviton gets to get free follow-up because there's nothing to block it barrier-wise. But they will also have both support ultimates on the defense, so it's definitely not over for them. Getting close on the graph for their own, so this really is a fight that they should win.
Class Nation and Kala both on the high ground here, making sure they can get in a little bit of damage before the payload gets to them and they rejoin their team. There goes the hammer down. It will find 3, but a Transcendence is there to save the team. Magic Maypal getting up from that shatter, going to be using that sound barrier at the end of this fight most likely, but they've already lost 2, so no, he's going to keep that back in his pocket. Machu and Kala making sure that the job gets done. Self-destruct for the remech from PG1. He does find Lum, but it's a little bit too little, a little bit too late, as there's only one member on the payload right now as it moves into that VIP parking spot. The Gravitons come out from both teams and a Transcendence as well to follow from Sneaky to keep his team alive and push the payload through.
And that was a bit of a shame because they almost had the Graviton from Me Big Brain, but then in all the chaos, Me Big Brain is the one going down, and it was just everything that was opened up there was opened up because you had the Diva on the high ground for RNG. So Class Nation was just standing up there, shooting down, completely denying PG1 that angle. Just drop down the self-destruct in the middle. Then the charge comes into Me Big Brain, meaning that Me Big Brain will go down because you know the bubble had already been broken before by the charge. And yeah, that was everything they needed. Because if Me Big Brain is down, they can afterwards just push forward with way more damage than the enemy team. And yeah, even the sound barrier got cancelled out. And Magic 8 Ball did not throw that one out in time, meaning that he kind of died during the animation. There was all these little mistimings that came out from Perfection that is a little bit of shame. Just in their demise. 1 minute 42 is going to be the time on the clock, and I'm curious to see if Perfection can do better on their attack. They definitely need to complete the map. That's the first thing, and then they need to complete it with some time left, and then you'd rather complete them a little bit faster. But it is a little bit of a hard task because they have not really been showing as coherent as the Roman's Next Gods have.
Yeah, I've always said, and if you've seen me or heard me cast before, you know what I'm about to say. The 3 things that a team needs to win a game is coordination, synergy, and timing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's really everything you need. I would say a little bit of mechanical skill also doesn't hurt, like the individual skill.
Yes, that's the unspoken rule.
But that doesn't really, define you as a team, obviously. I mean, you can just have a lot of ladder gods, but if they can't work together as a team, like you said, that doesn't really work. Once again, this drop mistiming, not really separating anyone, so Red Sledge will actually go down here. Good start here for Perfection.
Akodago playing aggressively and getting rewarded for it. He is able to not only take out Red Sledge, but he took out Red Sledge with the Fire Strike, turned around, and then charged Class Nation on that D.Va out of an advantageous position there in the back, allowing Big Brain to just waltz onto the point for a couple of kills. And we are going to see a take from Perfection much quicker than we did from RNG, as RNG goes back not all the way to spawn. They do have to get back to the choke. They're hoping that Lucio might be able to get over there for a stall, but it doesn't look like Lum's going to be able to get over the top of that wall.
I mean, even if he would have been able to, that was not a wise move. He's just going to be up there to maybe try and boop a Reinhardt into his team. That's what he's doing now. Gets Agodogo, actually. That's very nicely done. But are they going to get the kill?
Quite low.
Doesn't look like it. Oh, there he goes.
Through. It doesn't look like it's going to find any purchase, however. It didn't get anybody with the actual shatter. It did allow, however, RNG to get a little bit of purchase onto the point.
I mentioned Red Bull getting caught out of the side. Once again, going back to that first fight, because it was over very quickly, but sort of a different thing in the same manner happened to RNG that happened to Perfection. They tried to drop and split up the enemy team, but instead of getting into that corridor, they split themselves up and not split up the enemy team. So that's how they eventually lost the fight. Class Nation with another risky self-destruct, and now the graph comes out.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates are coming out, but oh man, PG1 grabbing 3 on that self-destruct. We saw rallies, transcendence, gravitons, and self-destructs, but once again, here on the attack.
Quick fight.
Yeah, we are seeing Perfection set a pretty alarming pace. I mean, they weren't able to hold their own on the control.
Right?
They're here now.
Yeah, but is that right? Because they've just been not stretching out fights. On the defense, these fights just went on for long. We're scrappy a lot of the time. But they're just winning fights in about 10 seconds. They're losing them in 10 seconds as well, which is great. Because the quicker you lose and win fights, the more fights you have, and the quicker you can get through the map.
More fights is better for me. Sneaky, however, taking Agodago out of the fight fairly early on, and you got to backtrack on that one. If you are Perfection, you lost your Reinhardt, you lost your shield, you lost your ability to hold the point.
And they keep trying to chase in the spawn here, but they really got to get more if they want to make this worth their while. They're not even going to get Magic 8 Ball, I don't think. So they chase it all the way there, but they don't make the fight last longer. They just move the location of the fight, and now the next one's going to start. They are in a good position. If you're good, though, you might be able to rotate around this. But there's a grab from Kala.
Can't rotate through a Graviton, but a beautiful Transcendence coming out from Alpha immediately to make sure that nobody got taken down. So Me Big Brain is going to be the one coming away with the first kill, but the rest is going on to RNG as Glass Nation and Red Sledge grab themselves a couple more mercs there. So they will be able to successfully defend here in a very front-forward position.
And it was a shatter chaos. You know, Red Sledge just throwing it out in the middle of everything, threw on the right people on the ground, and just all the cleave damage follow-up was just insane. We're gonna see the graph now being ready for Me Big Brain, but the support ultimates are there for the other side, so they should be able to sustain through it. If nothing big comes in the PG1 from the PG1 self-destruct, because that's the one tool they have to really get that properly going.
Class Nation trying to get up on into PG1's face, trying to get that D-suit, make him use up that defense matrix as much as possible before the meat of the fight goes down, but Alpha's going to get the D-suit onto Class Nation instead. Transcendence does come out from Alpha once again as all the ultimates get put onto the board. Grav Bomb isn't going to find anything, grabs from both sides. Pretty much null and void, but Red Sledge still putting himself into the kill feed with that cleave damage, using that Fire Strike to take Big Brain out of the fight. And once again, we're seeing Perfection pushed back to spawn. And they started this match out great, but they seem to be hitting a roadblock here.
Yeah, and Kala had lapped me Big Brain in the grab department there. That was actually insane. And it looks like Perfection needs to start engaging a little bit quicker on their own, because they're playing a little bit too reactive. And when they do that, then all their ultimates are going to be used later, and usually to lesser effect.
Oh no, there goes the self-destruct coming in from behind, looking to find a couple of kills, but it's not going to find anything. It does distract him long enough for the Shatter to land, and that finds the rallying Brig, and that's going to get taken out. But the counter Shatter is huge. They don't have the bodies to fight the fight because the Transcendence is there to stop the damage. But man, that was a good Shatter.
It really was. Me Big Brain falling late, Alpha falling late. They actually did okay with self-destruct blocking it. I think Nick actually stunned that or whip-shotted that to be in a stationary position. They blocked it out, but it did spread them out horizontally a little bit too much, which meant that not everyone was behind the Reinhardt shield anymore. Red Sledge is capitalizing on that properly. So once again, just the engagement is coming from RNG. It's not coming from Perfection. They're just like, how do we approach this? By the time they figured something out, Kala's already thrown in a grab, or there's already a kill into Agodogo, or something like that happens, and it just keeps happening for them.
It seems like RNG is kind of forcing Perfection into these one-off 1v1s, and they're winning the fights. So whether that be PG1, against Class Nation. Class Nation has seemed to have better defense matrix control throughout those 1v1s, using that high ground in the back, and the same with Red Sledge facing off against Agodogo. Graviton will come out from Kala, but Transcendence from Alpha to keep his team alive through that damage. Diva Bomb does pop out, but it's not going to find any kills, and once again, Red Sledge gets the first kill of the fight onto Agodogo, and Agodogo has died first multiple times here on Hollywood.
On the late stagger onto me Big Brain, had the grab ready, so they could have maybe engaged quickly, but they can't do it now. And you keep seeing Class Nation be on this high ground, what we call juice, constantly up there, and they don't really try to deal with him. The last time Magic 8-Ball tried to boop him off there, but that's not going to work. So now they sent the Diva after it and the Lucio. They finally want to clear that high ground before they engage, but Class Nation doesn't care. Just goes back in, gets a kill in PG1.
And that's what I'm talking about with Class Nation, winning those 1v1s, throwing out the Diva Bombs. He does give a lot of charge up to Big Brain on the Zarya, but right now, Perfection is in dire straits. Huge Earth Shatter coming in from Red Sledge to get their team down on the ground, but the Graviton's going to keep people alive. Agodogo trying to do something against Red Sledge, but he's going to get taken out pretty quickly as Nick's rally does what it can for the team. That overtime ticker is going to tick down pretty quickly if they stay on the point for too long.
Yeah, it's likely just gonna tick down here. I don't think they're gonna complete the map here. Still possible. It's not over yet. Their spawn is very close. They do get the kill on Sneaky here, so it's not over just yet. But yeah, so they're gonna win this fight, but they still have to get through the entire second point. Mind you, they'd gone almost halfway through this second point before they started losing fights, and then the cart was all the way pushed back to first. So they really have a lot of distance to make up for. But they do have the ultimates to do it with. If they rotate them properly, could be. But Kala, Red Sledge, Class Nation, they're all so close in their ultimates that could not matter.
That's going to be very important for Alpha to keep that Transcendence in pocket for when Kala does get that Graviton. We'll see how they go in the next fight. Agodogo getting immediately pushed out of position by that flail from the Brig as Class Nation goes onto the high ground to fight PG1. Agodogo keeping the shield up for the rest of his team as the self-destruct comes out from Class Nation. Doesn't seem to get past the payload. Looks like a little bit of a spoof there. And the Shatter from Red Sledge as well. Not going to do much as Alpha's Transcendence was there to keep that damage at bay. Magic 8-Ball going to take Kala out of the fight as Red Sledge evens the table with the kill on the Nick as Big Brain de-suits Class Nation. But Red Sledge, with the help of that sound barrier, going to lay down a hefty Shatter. The self-destruct coming in from PG1, not able to find any kills, and that's going to be the downfall here as Lum and Madshu find themselves a couple of kills of Transcendence from Sneaky just to put the last and final nail into that coffin. You've got a hamster on the point. There goes Doomfist making it back with Nick, but the healing just is not there for Perfection as RNG puts himself up 2-0.
Yeah, that's a... That's I mean, it looked okay at the start. They started out very well on Perfection side, but at some point they just started pushing and started being pushed, and they were kind of thrown out of their rhythm. And Class Nation, so you would think that Class Nation, it's not just the positioning, it's just the matrix, it's also the way they're using the self-destructs. So it's not, they're using it in different ways. What you saw happen most of the time is that yes, so the self-destruct flows in, and then they do something to either disposition the enemy team, or just goes in the middle to spread chaos, spread the team apart, even though they don't get kills from it. But sometimes they also just did it like, oh, Agadoga only has like half a shield left. Throw the self-destruct in, he'll block it, his shield will be gone. We can just shatter for free. It was almost always those two ultimates being combined. Very rarely was it combined with the Graviton. And that's something, it's a development we've been seeing happen a lot. The Graviton self-destruct combo has been relatively easy to block out lately for a lot of teams. So people have been trying to find new ways to use those ultimates separately. And
Yeah.
self-destruct really a good beacon in that transition.
Yeah, that Big Bang combination has been around for so long, and we've had so many new heroes get added into the mix that, you know, it's like you said, it's just kind of become a null and void combination. Everybody knows that when you put out a Graviton, oh, if you have a Genji, you're going to use a Dragon Blade. If you have a Diva, you're going to use a Diva Bomb. So it's really easy to predict that. I am a huge fan of these teams using Diva Bombs as distractions for the Earth Shatter, for the Graviton, so on and so forth.
I've seen the self-destruct, like you said, also being used a lot to sort of counter out Graviton follow-up, but that's been less successful than the way Class Nation's been using it. The reason for that being is that there's a window in which you can still do damage before the self-destruct goes off. And the only thing you have to do is just right-click as Reinhardt. It's a very quick move to put up your shield. Same thing with Zarya bubbles, brick shields. Like the things that really need to, the heroes that really need to do the follow-up, they have a mechanic to just, you know, still do the damage, kill one or two heroes before the self-destruct goes off. So unless you're really proactive with that, and like really time it properly, so essentially throw it out at the same time that the Graviton hits, you're never gonna really block that follow-up fully. So I like that they're not using it that way. I've seen some teams have success with it, but once again, that's already an outdated move almost. Like it's only been happening for like a month or three, but that's already an outdated move. That's how quickly these developments within GOATs happen sometimes.
So, looks like we're going to be going to the home of the environmental kills next.
Ooh. Oh,
I do love this map so much. As a Pharah,
I like it a lot. I like it a lot, but once again, I'm gonna say until like changes come into the control game mode, I can never have a control map as my favorite map. It's just impossible because I cannot enjoy a map which is played in a game mode that's broken. Because Assault is not as bad and was never as bad as Control is right now, in my opinion. But enough about the negativity. I do like Ilios in a structural sense, like the way it's built up, like with the environmental kills, with the far possibilities, just the openness of the map, but also sometimes the closer parts that you can still run these heavier comps in. It's always this very interesting interaction that these teams have. This time, Lum is going to be saving Mercy because it really looked like obviously they were going to go with those DPS that they would do really well on Lijiang, but the wrecking ball,
especially on a map like Ilios, where
it's so
both
good there.
Widowmaker and Pharah can be just absolutely crucial picks, and then on Ruins, Widowmaker is just a beautiful pick because you have these long 100%. Sight lines to play with. You have a lot of different high grounds to hop between. So having that Mercy on the table is really good.
Because in a lot of ways, Ilios is worse than Lijiang in that respect, where it might have been a little bit of RNG that RNG got away with on Lijiang that they didn't get control center. But Perfection, you know, they couldn't win. You have to win 2 points. If they couldn't win either of the other two, that would have been a problem anyways. Gonna start on Lighthouse here. I think this is one of the more neutral points of the two. 3-3 can do very well here because of the enclosed nature of the point. So once they get to the point, it's going to be harder for damage dealers to actually get the damage in. But yeah, I don't know. It's still going to be hard because they haven't really been showing a lot of prowess against those DPS compositions. They showed a little bit better on Night Market, but it's all going to depend on what's going to happen because they could also just not play those DPS comps now because they don't have the Wrecking Ball. Or they could just go for something like a 2-2-2, or maybe have a solo tank Winston. I don't know what they're going to do. But I'm interested to see what their RNG is going to do.
So let's see. This is, I gotta say though, the map we're starting out on, as far as Ilios goes, it's probably my least favorite Ilios map. I don't know.
Maybe, it's still environmental kills possible.
It's still possible. You can't get in there, you know?
Yeah. Pharah's still pretty popular on this point, though. I gotta say. I mean, this is this is a point where you see her come out relatively often still. The only hard thing about this map is using her barrage, because it's harder to get that one off. But the general rockets, you can do a lot of spam still. There's a lot of windows you can shoot through.
This is true.
But it's really that barrage. That barrage is your biggest problem here, because it's hard to set up. There's not as many places where it's nice to do. And for both Wrecking Ball and Pharah, this inside point is just a death trap. It's hard to really get through there and do something. I'm gonna see them go Spear for that reason.
Yep. And mind you guys, we have switched once again. We're gonna have Perfection in the red and RNG in the blue. If RNG wins this map on Ilios, they will be taking home the W and knocking Perfection out of the bracket. The fight ensues. Big brain. Using that L2, he was low on health, used that orb, and that's going to be all she wrote. OWB6 were going to jump off the map because they knew they were going to lose it. So they just want to get back to spawn as quickly as possible to re-engage in the next fight.
Class Nation was actually riding the edge at the beginning of the fight, but still had the boosters, luckily, so could just get back up on the high ground. But I was really thinking that they might have gotten the boop there, because I think they used both Magic 8-Ball and PG1 to get the double boop onto Class Nation. But you know, if you do the one boop first and they have to use the boosters and then you boop them back again so the boosters cannot actually get them back on the edge, that's where you get the double boop. Class Nation's being denied a lot of high ground here. I think that's a very nice adaptation that they're making.
Yep, there goes the self-destruct getting thrown into the mix quite early on, as well as the rally from Machu, the shatter as well from Red Sledge to try and find a couple of kills, but Alpha will have Transcendence in his pocket, and a counter shatter from OWB6 will grab a couple of people. Sound Barrier from Lum going to keep the team alive, however, within the fight as PG1 gets really low. Alpha going to grab 1, 2, 3 if you count the mech in this fight, and that's going to be huge. A 4v6 is a winnable fight for Perfection and most any other team. Red Sledge getting dire here on health, going to get charged outside of the point for a Reinhardt 1v1 against OWB6. He's going to be backing up to try and get some health from his healer, but Alpha's going to turn around and throw a couple of orbs over there to help Red Sledge out.
They still did stall and ring around the Rosie them a little bit until that 60% mark, but nicely done. I mean, obviously the self-destruct doesn't get as much value here on Ilios in that small corridor here, because there's so much cover you can take. And the shatter only came in after. So, you know, they just broke the shield with it and then shattered again. OWB6, nice counter shatter. Charged it very deep, but sort of ran away from the enemy team, sent them on a Merry Goose Chase while they took out Class Nation and Machu. That put them in the numbers advantage, but there's a shatter from Red Sledge.
Red Sledge, however, coming in with a big shatter to start things off, and that's going to allow Big Brain to get an easy kill. As PG1, however, going to bring in the defense on that Diva Bomb, making sure that his team stays alive throughout that shatter. And Red Sledge now feeling the same pain that OWB6 felt on Hollywood. Beautiful shatter, but no outcome in your favor.
And they took a little bit of a leaf out of the other team's blue clip there. I mean, just saying here, guys, there is a lovely shatter, but I throw in the self-destruct at the same time, so you can't really do the follow-up properly. So, yeah, nicely recognized that that's something you can do. And there's a nice graph as well.
Yeah, Big Brain taking advantage of the short corridor there. The self-destruct going to land on deaf ears. Machu with the rally as the Graviton comes out from Kala as a response. But Sound Barrier from Magic 8-Ball going to keep things fine and dandy for Perfection as Nick gets the first kill there onto Kala. Machu going around the flank on the Brigette, trying to find himself a couple of kills as Red Sledge puts himself back into the Hall of Fame, into the kill feed. The shatter, however, going to be into the shield. They will lose OWB6 at the beginning of this fight as Red Sledge and the rest of RNG just parade onto the point.
That's all about. It's going to be the last fight the next one though, because they're still stalling out a little bit, 84%. When they next cap it, it should be the last fight with maybe a little bit of stall. And the big deal about this is if they can really engage quickly with this Graviton, then Sneaky and Slum will not have support ultimate yet. There could be so much follow-up. Class Nation does have the self-destruct, but maybe that will not be enough to deny any follow-up without any support ults. Does look like Sneaky will get it up in time, though, so that's a little bit of a shame, but still there. Still possibilities.
Like Nick's going to go ahead and pop that rally at the initial part of this fight. Graviton does come out from Big Brain to put the rest of RNG into the same spot. Self-destruct will not find any kills. There goes the hammer down, and it's gonna get the entirety of the team except for Madshu, who's able to pop that rally and keep everybody but Red Sledge alive as the ticker still ticks on. 99% now for RNG as that Transcendence from Alpha pushes Perfection onto the point to take out Class Nation on this D.Va, push them over the edge, and put the point back in their favor. And now it's going to be last fight territory as we come into this next engagement.
And that was such impeccable sound barrier time from Magic 8-Ball. Nick and PG1 were on a sliver of health, and just as the sound barrier hit, they just get pushed back up. The Transcendence might have been a little bit of overkill, but good support play for Magic 8-Ball.
Lum right now on Lucio. He's trying to trigger the other, he's trying to trigger the team to come back, but it's not going to do much as Red Sledge gets taken out at the beginning of the fight. Sneaky with the Transcendence as the last-ditch effort is 99% for both teams. Gets out, they're going to layer the sound barrier on as well. Madshu and Class Nation both find themselves a couple of kills. They could do it. There's a D.Va bomb for 2 as PG1 looks to respond with 1, but it's not going to be enough as the point ticks on. It will be RNG.
And you really would have loved to have a Transcendence in that last one there, which it didn't have. Magic 8-Ball got caught out being playing a little bit too aggressive. It was the only one in the graph, but sometimes, you know, getting one pick from a graph can be worth it. Not often that's a Lucio pick, though. That's not often the one you really want to get, but worked out for them. And then afterwards, yeah, that self-destruct from Class Nation was just huge. You just got 3, and that's all you really need sometimes. It's all you need most of the time, to be honest. If you get 3 picks on the enemy team, there's rare situations in which that won't lead to a fight win. But yeah, very nicely done. They're gonna go over to this Orisa Hog combination here with me, Big Brain on the McCree again, side of Perfection. Let's see if this works out a little bit better for them than this Goat's Mirror that they've been running into. Other side's gonna be the triple, no, the quad DPS with the Solo Heal Mercy. And now Orisa, obviously, also pretty good solo tank on this point.
Yeah, Orisa, especially with that new buff that we talked about earlier. So you can see there, Madshu going to be peppering in rockets from above. RNG really wants to end this match here and now, and they're going to start it out big as Big Brain falls in the big hole. Calicut is also going to be taking out Magic 8-Ball there. And this is going to be dire straits for Perfection as RNG just floods over their composition with all of this damage.
Yeah, so nicely done. I mean, they got the double, right? So they got the boop through the shield from the Pharah because it was behind the shield, and then they pulled them in even further. So that's the double boop range that you would normally get from both of those abilities. Very nicely done, very nicely chained. And me, Big Brain, was just a little bit too far forward to get caught by that because the Hog and the Orisa were fine.
Attack, they're kind of gathering up here on the left side of the hole, making sure that they're not going to get instantly booped out into the open and be subject to that Orisa halt again. There goes the halt onto the team, getting Big Brain up into the sky as Class looks for a great MP onto 5. That's the entirety of the team except for Magic 8-Ball, so the barrage will come through. But looks like they're going to be able to hide around that pillar and allow PG1 to get the kill. Now it's a 5v6 on the point. As long as RNG can sustain, they'll be able to keep this fight alive, but Agrodago going to be able to get the kill onto Red Sledge with the help of PG1, and Nick following it up with the kill onto Sneaky, bringing out a Pharah of their own.
Kala going down late to Nick as well, so they got the Pharah, and that's going to do a lot of work. I mean, they do have a sniper on the other side in the form of Kala, but Ashe can be problematic sometimes to deal with a Pharah in the sky. I mean, her FOV on the crosshair is a little bit different than a lot of other heroes. So unless you put in a lot of time with that hero, it's going to be relatively annoying to hit shots sometimes.
The easy thing, however, is to just send in that big Omnic Butler and let him do the dirty work. They do have that Bob ready, so we will have the Valkyrie come out from Love preemptively into this fight as the Pharah battles do ensue. Kala has that Bob ready to go. Gonna go ahead and send Bob out on the point, but he's not gonna make it all the way onto the point, so you won't get anything there. And oh my god, Red Sledge is taking a dip in the hole as Nick gets a beautiful concussion blast onto that Orisa. Agrodago almost falling into the hole himself, but it's not going to be enough. We will see Perfection continue control here on the point. High Noon coming in from Big Brain off to the side, but not finding anything except for Kala. That's all he really needed there. Class Nation on the high ground with that EMP.
Magic 8-Ball almost getting the kill onto Madshu there with the Battle Mercy. It's a very ballsy play, but they do hold on to the point here, so very nicely done in their defense so far. And you mostly see that me, Big Brain's not necessarily only looking at the Pharah. He kind of trusts Nick to deal with that Pharah matchup, but there's the EMP.
Let's see what they're able to do with that. There goes the first kill. There goes the second. And Kala with a beautiful follow up there. But Nick is going to even the scales as Matthew takes his counterpart out. Magic Maple having to fly away from the fight, leaving Alpha to his own weapons there, which is not going to end well for that Ana. We do have Big Brain on the big flank there, trying to get across, and on the other side of Red Sledge's shield, but good positioning from them isn't going to allow that to happen as Bob decides to go ahead and take out the trash. Magic 8 Ball and Big Brain going to be taken down as we see the control percentages near equal.
Might have been a tactical death though, because Bob doesn't provide anyone with ult charge, and if you're not going to be able to jump off the map, that might be their best way out if you're stuck in there, which they kind of were. One fight win once again though, just like the last point. This could be the last stage and the last map of the series, guys. So, I mean, personally, I'm hoping that they kind of can pull it back, but not wanting to be biased, so we'll see what happens here. The ults are relatively even. Most big difference is going to be that that Valkyrie and the Transcendence on the side of RNG here.
Perfection trying to hold on with everything they've got. RNG trying to finish this off as quickly as possible. Not going to be too easy with 5 members on the point. Kala will get taken out easily in the beginning, but Matthew's going to return the favor onto Nick. There is a res, however, for Nick, so it's still going to be a 5v6. Supercharger going to be put out onto the point here from Dago as Big Brain finds himself a couple of kills. Matthew's going to take out that Supercharger, but that's just a little bit of a consolation prize as Sneaky Transcendence tries to keep RNG alive on the point. Matthew's going to get Big Brain before he gets the Deadeye off, and that's going to be huge. There goes PG1 down into the hole as Matthew tries to get that barrage off. He will find Dago, but Nick is going to be able to take Matthew out of the fight. That nano-boosted Pharah is a force to be reckoned with, but he's not touching the point.
Oh, that's such a shame. Because they were looking to maybe still pull that fight back, and that was just... Matthew got a little bit away with murder there in that last part, because Kala falling first was a big deal. Kala had done so much damage for them, so they really had a lot more freedom to work around with, but they never tried a different approach. They never tried to go around the other side, maybe rotate through the inside of the home. Like they really didn't avoid the well all that much. And that meant that Matthew always had the same angle of approach, which is relatively easy. Like it's the easiest corner for a fire to find damage in. So yeah, a little bit of a shame that they didn't try anything new, but very nice of them from RNG. That's all I can really say. I mean, sure, they capitalized on some mistakes here, but they also make some very big plays, and their DPS can definitely be happy with their jobs done, because that Ashe and Fire play and also that Widow play that came out through the middle, it's looked very good.
It does look like we are going to be having one of the members of the winning team here into the caster's booth for a short little interview. Little post-game interview. We'll kind of get an eye on what the healing situation is for RNG and what it's like to solo heal for a quad DPS composition.
The main support Lum's gonna be in here pretty soon. Welcome to the voice chat, Lum.
How you doing?
How are you doing?
Hello.
Congrats on the win.
Yeah, thank you. Feeling pretty good about it.
First, I'd like to congratulate your team on pulling out the W in a 3-0 in beautiful fashion. I will say, though, what's it like to be the solo Mercy in a quad DPS setup? How stressful is that?
Well, the problem is that you have people on 4 different corners of the map, and you have one Guardian Angel cooldown, and you have to decide who lives and who dies. You're kind of playing the role of God.
The power is in your hands.
Yeah, I can choose who lives and who dies.
That's a little too much power.
Maybe.
Is it? I mean, if you're a god, you gotta get used to those things. But yeah, I mean, once again, it's a very nice victory that you guys pulled off. Were you at all worried at the points where they started to pull out the Mercy? I mean, Hollywood especially. It started out pretty good on your attack, but then they really did a very good job of coming back on the first start of the attack. They actually started to get pretty good on a roll, but then you just pulled them back. Were you at all worried in the interim between that?
I think it's a healthy mindset to be a little aware of the mistakes you're making and what they're doing, but I think we together understand that being worried isn't going to do anything for us mentally, so we just have to move forward and just try to fix the mistakes we're making in the match. And I think we did that pretty well. We definitely had level head.
Okay, it's good to hear. Obviously, that level-headedness is going to come in handy when you progress through this tournament, because yeah, you're gonna progress in this tournament. That's obviously the positive thing. Obviously, last time we saw you, which was quite a while ago,
last 2 seasons.
I mean, it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So last time you won was last time you played was against New England Whalers, who kind of got you on the reverse sweep there that time.
Yeah.
Not this case. I mean, what I'm not going to ask about that match. It's not going to be interesting. I mean, it can be interesting, of course.
I mean,
But
go ahead
I mean,
if you
what
want.
did you work on in the interim? Because I mean, it was
Mhm.
quite a while since the last match. If you played any other tournaments or something else that really helped you out to
Yeah.
prepare for this.
So I think we just analyzed like what we did wrong and what we could have improved, and we understood like how we can improve our mentality in order to not let that happen again. We also have, let's just say, a not as tiltable flex support playing with us. So that was nice, sneaky. Shout out. Even though we butt heads sometimes, it's all in good.
I mean, you gotta have a little bit of friction in the team sometimes. Otherwise, if everything's too perfect, then it's
Suspicious, you know.
it doesn't feel right? Yeah, this just gets boring, and then you don't want to play anymore, and then your team falls apart, and then okay, let's not go there. Yeah, so your next match is gonna be against Sucker Gaming or the Feeding Trusts. They're gonna be the next matchup, by the way, for anyone watching. Are you gonna be watching that itself, or you know, prepare for it that way, or are you gonna just watch the VOD later? How's that gonna go?
I don't know. We don't have much super planned out because I feel like analyzing in the past, but I feel like we might watch it. I don't know. Depends on personal preference, to be honest. We might watch it live.
One
might
thing you
be-
can do now is watch the replay of this match. Obviously, it's not going to
Oh,
be that
yeah,
helpful in
I'm so
scrims because
excited.
I mean it's not going to be that helpful in scrims from what I hear, because obviously you cannot like scrims, you often cancel the match before you know it actually finishes, so you won't get the replay file. But you know it could be helpful for these tournaments.
Tourneys, yeah.
Like,
I feel like there's a, from what I remember, there's like a workshop mode that allows it to finish. Although I'm not sure. I'll
yeah,
have to look
it's
into that.
probably people will fake or something like that out. Like I
There's
personally
gonna be a
thought
workaround.
maybe, yeah, because like maybe you can put like a quick play mode in so that you can actually just get the you have to do something with the time scalers here and there so you can actually get the proper competitive rules set in. But that way you can finish them.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I can.
But yeah,
finally-
that's should
finally
be
watch
really
myself
cool.
feed.
Yeah, I mean,
in person, you know?
talking about the patch that came in, because was there like a lot of worry for like especially for people like Class Nation that just had their matrix cut to the bone, or was it just we're gonna roll with the punches because they're also having to deal with it?
Yeah, I feel like where a lot of our players are super adaptable, so no matter what comes and patches, I feel like we'll be able to adapt to it. Like for example, we're talking with Sledge. He's like, whatever. If they add a new main tank, I'll play it. Whatever. They had if they if they nerf whatever, say Ryan to the floor, which he's already gonna be pretty bad if they lock 2-2-2. But if they nerf Monkey or Ryan to the floor, whatever, I'll play Risa. Whatever, I'll play. If they nerf Risa to the floor, I'll play Monkey or Ryan. Whatever. Super flexible players on our team.
Well, I mean, if
pretty
there's
excited
only like 3 or 4 heroes. To
I
switch
mean,
between,
luckily
it's-
for me, I get to play 2 characters, so I don't really have to worry
Yeah.
about much. But
Yeah, I was gonna say because the support role is not. It's not that
I was on a-
necessary to be
yeah.
that flexible in
I
team
was on
basis.
a hit scan these last 2 Watcher seasons actually, and that was a lot more. It required a lot more flexible. I believe how many times? I think I was interviewed twice. Maybe I think by different casters, but yeah, it's good to be back playing the frog in the backline.
Yeah, I mean, did you feel that your style was a little bit less aggressive than Magic Mate Balls? Like, was there a little bit of a difference between there going on?
It really depends on the situation, because I think when it was Go to Mirror, I think I played it. I played to set up like my Rhino stuff, and I played to just enable my team, and that's like our general mindset is we all have to play together. We have to play to like set up our team. And I noticed I think our positioning allowed us for him to have less chances to do that. So if I could just like counteract what he's doing, I feel like that would put us in an advantage because I feel like our positioning was really advantageous in those positions. So
Okay, well, it makes a lot of sense. I'm not gonna hold you up for too much longer, so I'm gonna let you do like a few final shout-outs. You know, go like,
Some-
oh, you
some
can
shout-outs.
you can hate or love on anyone you want. So the floor is yours.
no hate. PMA. Let's see. Shout out to Cup, our coach. He's really big brain and he's very understanding and he has to put up with me. So shout out to him. Shout out to Sneaky for playing with us. Even though Sneaky, if you're watching this, I'm good. Sneaky, if you're watching this, you're a feeder. Just kidding.
We'll get there in like
Inside
we have a
jokes,
3-minute delay, so it's you'll get. To
I
see,
get
like,
3 minutes to
voice
prepare.
chat. Yeah, exactly, to prepare for that.
see.
What you won't have to
Everyone,
prepare
everyone
for,
on our team, shout out to them. Yeah.
I mean, what you don't have to prepare for is congratulating yourself with the MVP. You gotta do that for Kala because he got that vote.
Cal just
congratulations
pops
to
off.
Kala
So.
getting the MVP. Hey, I'm not saying I don't agree or
Oh,
like,
Cal is poggers. I don't know what to say.
yeah, no, it was a very nice match. But once again, congratulations. Maybe we'll see you in the next one, and have a good night.
Yeah, YouTube.
Alrighty, guys, we are gonna go ahead and take a short break, but we will be back in just a moment. Or actually, I believe it's going to be
We'll be back in like an hour.
Yeah, it's about an hour.
Don't
It's a
worry.
quick match. But we are going to have Sakura Gaming facing off against the Feeding Troughs. So make sure you guys tune back in. Follow the Twitch channel to make sure you get notified for when we go live.